Today's episode is supported by AIDS-Free Pittsburgh. There are more than 5,000 people living with HIV in southwestern Pennsylvania, and the Ryan White HIV/AIDS program provides support services to help them get the care they need. That includes assistance with things like healthcare, medications, housing, transportation, food, and treatment for substance use disorders. Visit aidsfreepittsburgh.org to learn more.
Today on CityCast Pittsburgh, the Farmer's Almanac predicted this, that we were going to see our first big snowfall around the beginning of December. And y'all, if the rest of their forecast is accurate this winter, we are in for a rough season. But it could always be worse. Today, we are talking about some of the worst snowstorms and longest cold snaps in all of Pittsburgh history, and how we started measuring all this in the first place. And stick around after the episode. We've got a segment sponsored by AIDS-Free Pittsburgh about all of their work to end the HIV epidemic here in Allegheny County. It's Wednesday, December 3rd. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. It happened. We got our first big snowfall of the winter. I'm here with senior newsletter editor and lifelong Pittsburgher, Francesca DeBecco, to talk about what it would be like if it were worse, like it has been at a lot of moments in Pittsburgh history. I gotta say, this has been a good reminder that a few inches of snow, no matter how cold, really is not that bad.
Hey, Megan, thanks for getting nostalgic with me. This stuff really puts it into perspective. Like when we're complaining about what's happening with the cold temps and the snow, we can just kind of humble ourselves with
honestly
what has happened in the past. Yeah.
So fun fact, the data we pulled actually goes back over 150 years.
Pretty impressive.
Honestly. So a teeny Pittsburgh history lesson. Our city was among the very first of the National Weather Service stations, like the official ones.
That's so cool. Pittsburgh loves being first and stuff. I really didn't know about this, so thanks for sharing this.
I didn't either. We found like temperature tables with the National Weather Service, and they went back to 1871, and I was like, how? How is this possible? But it turns out Pittsburgh was one of the first. We were a pioneer in this. So in 1870, Congress authorized the Secretary of War to make meteorological observations at like military stations. It was assigned initially to the U.S. Army Signal Office or Signal Corps, and the very first temperature reading ever officially recorded in Pittsburgh was November 1st, 1870. Someone took this observation from a window shelter on Fifth Avenue in downtown, and folks kept doing it like downtown for decades. Eventually, we got more modern stations in the 30s out at the airports and elsewhere.
We need like a marker there at that spot
right?
downtown.
It didn't say what building. I really want to know.
Yeah. And now that main station is out in Coriopolis. That's just west of the Ohio, sort of between the river and the airport.
And if you check out all of that data, January is by far our coldest month here in the city. Our official tourism group, Visit Pittsburgh, says our average high in January is 39 degrees.
Yeah.
But the average low is around 23 degrees.
Yeah, and January is also usually our snowiest month, but a lot of other years we've had massive snowstorms or long cold snaps. So we thought we'd, talk about a few of those. You can also read about these on our website. That's pittsburgh.citycast.fm.
So let's start with the quote-unquote big snow of 1950, aka the Great Appalachian Storm. Southwestern Pennsylvania got 27 inches of snow. It was over a couple of days, November 24th to 26th, so right after Thanksgiving that year. That is so early for snow, let alone snow of that caliber.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine that in our Novembers now. I remember my grandma talking about this big storm around Thanksgiving, and I wish I could ask her about it now. Unfortunately, there were some pretty tragic stories across Appalachia.
Yeah. So we'll jump ahead a couple of decades. Our coldest overall winter ever was the winter between 1976 and 1977. The average temps at the time were 20 degrees or so. Oof. January 1977 actually had an average temp of 11.4 degrees for the entire month.
Oh, no.
It's so cold. Like, just thinking about that.
I would not be going out.
Oh, it's so upsetting. Pittsburgh Magazine reports that we had a colder summer that year as well. The average temp that year was 67 degrees.
Oh.
So, like, it didn't even get better later on.
Oh, my. Actually, I can get behind 67 degrees. I love that. Maybe not for all summer, but I love that weather in Pittsburgh.
I mean, I do too, but I don't want it in July and August.
That feels really unnatural. So let's move on to the most snow Pittsburgh's ever seen in one day. That was 23.6 inches. That happened March 13th, 1993. The real ones will remember. That was about 3 inches per hour.
I mean, I can't fathom what that must have looked like up here. I actually did experience this when the storm system was so enormous that it hit my hometown too. Like, it was up here in Pittsburgh and also down where we were, but it hit us as sleet and ice. Oof. So it was a very different experience than the massive amount of snow Pittsburgh received.
Yeah, major highways were shut down, flights were canceled or delayed, and in true Pittsburgh fashion, the St. Patrick's Day parade still happened.
Yep.
I cannot believe this.
Oh, I can. We are belligerent about our St. Patrick's Day parade.
Actually, you're right. And I was looking back at some reports, and 117 marching bands and groups still showed up that day. So they had about 70 cancel. Most of those were schools, marching bands with schools and stuff.
I mean, the kids were so short, they would have gotten swallowed by the snow.
I know. And they, in these reports, they were talking about how, like, this begs the question, like, who's responsible for canceling these types of events? Is it the city? Is it the organizers? But they were not letting up. And so they had to do a lot of work to, make that day still go on.
I've actually seen photos of the St. Patrick's Day parade from that year. They're really funny, like, just people like trudging through, like, dead committed anyway.
And I guess, they love their drinking on St. Patrick's Day, so they warm up that way.
Yeah, you got to stay warm somehow, right?
Today's episode is supported thanks to the Frick Museums and Gardens and their world premiere of the Scandinavian home, Landscape and Lore. I know it is so hard to leave the house when it's dark and cold, but at the Frick, you're gonna find magic and comfort. You can immerse yourself in a mythical Scandinavia and see princesses, Vikings, trolls, gnomes, and more fairy tale creatures come to life. You'll get to look at furniture, ceramics, glass, textiles, sculpture, and more fine decorative and folk art. It's from Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland. And this is the perfect place to take friends and family who are visiting Pittsburgh, and you can pair this exhibition visit with a holiday tour of the Clayton House. Then grab some hot chocolate from the cafe, and you'll leave with all the warm and fuzzy feelings. The Scandinavian home, Landscape and Lore, is on view through January 11th, 2026. Coziness awaits you. Get your tickets at thefrickpittsburgh.org. Today's episode is sponsored by Honey Girls Wrap House. This is a sister-owned business, and they are looking to spread holiday cheer, one beautifully wrapped gift at a time. I cannot wait to tap into their services because I am so bad at wrapping gifts. I have a stash of pretty bags and tissue paper in my closet. But even if you're a gift wrapping pro, let Honey Girls Wrap House take over this year. It's one fewer thing to stress about during the holiday season, and instead, you can spend more time with your family and friends. Plus, their system is super simple. Just drop off your gifts at their workshop, then Honey Girls Wrap House works their magic, and they can even deliver the gift back to you. You choose your wrapping paper, standard, luxury, or brown, then decide if you want to add bows and ribbons, or you can have Honey Girls Wrap House create the design from scratch. Visit their Instagram page for more details on paper, pricing, and contact info. Find them at honeygirls_wrap house. That's HAUS.
And now for the coldest day of the year. Megan, want to guess how cold it's gotten here?
I mean, I know it's in the negatives, but I don't know how bad in the negatives it is.
Throw out a number.
Okay. -17.
Oh, you're pretty close. So the coldest temperature on record in Pittsburgh was minus 22 degrees the year after the biggest snowfall. So this was 1994. And the high that day was negative 3 degrees. And maybe
this is not feels like, by the way. This is not like factoring in wind chill. This is just the normal temperature.
Yep. What was taken and recorded. And maybe what I think is the worst part is this, cold snap was a part of a 52-hour stretch of below zero temperatures.
It sounds terrible. Once again, the 94 one that hit Pittsburgh, I also felt in Tennessee. It's so funny that we have these memories of this storm, but like in radically different places. It's just like how the cold fronts move across the country. It's so funny.
Yeah, it was so cold then that the governor at the time, Robert Casey, Bob Casey's dad, declared a state of emergency, and he encouraged workers to go home. But I got a little anecdote. My dad couldn't go home. He was working at Three River Stadium at the time, and he tells stories about how his job was to watch all of the pipes to make sure that they didn't burst.
Like just to sit there in a lawn chair and stare at them?
I think that he had to like really go around the building and monitor things.
I mean, I don't know where pipes are.
I don't know.
In Three River Stadium, God rest its soul.
I know, R.I.P. But he says the river was completely frozen, like locked in ice, and that there were these like sort of mountains of ice chunks on the riverbanks, like they kind of looked like mini glaciers. Mm-hmm. And when it melted, there was a ton of cleanup. There was boats in places that they weren't supposed to be because they got moved around. My dad said that they had to cut one lane in the ice for traffic. So, the barges and everything could still move through. I have a hard time conceptualizing what that looked like. But apparently there was such a demand for electricity during this cold snap that utilities did these rolling blackouts. So they kind of prevented the grid from shutting down completely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I've seen some of that like ice cutting in action because it's nothing as bad as it was in 1994. But just in the time that I've lived here in the city, I've watched them have to do that before when the river gets too frozen for like the barges and the river traffic to go through. And your dad's right. The cleanup is like really terrible. Like we think the roads get gross and slushy. Like our riverbanks really needed love after that.
Yeah, for sure.
The next one we'll move to is Snowmageddon. So this was in 2010. Pittsburgh got just under 22 inches of snow.
Oof. Yeah, I do remember this one. This was back when you had to watch the local news to see if your school canceled.
Did school get canceled?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I remember it getting canceled like kind of well into the week. I don't remember how many days, but I definitely spent multiple days in my PJs. But hey, guys, if you prefer spending your snow days outside, you should definitely go check out our website because we did a whole podcast about winter activities around our area. So skiing, snow tubing, all that good stuff, because we are inevitably going to have another snow day this year.
Oh, yeah, many. This 2010 one, though, again, before my time, but I do remember hearing all about it because it sent the entire city press corps into such a tizzy. The mayor at the time, Luke Ravenstall, was famously not here for this snowstorm. It happened to coincide with his 30th birthday, which he had decided to spend in Seven Springs.
Dude.
So we're having all of this like municipal meltdown situation with all the snow, and Mayor Ravenstall was not seen in public until several days after the storm had passed. And he was, as you might expect, pretty heavily criticized for the whole thing.
I also remember hearing stories about this, and I just think it's funny that you said, the city was in a meltdown amid the snowstorm.
Well, it was icy,
No, but yeah, he definitely did not live that down and rightfully criticized, I think, for escaping the city during that.
It doesn't do any politician any favors to not be at home when disaster strikes. Last one, and the only one that I lived here for, was the January 2014 polar vortex. It's the most absurd name. Below zero weather hit -7 and -9. That was January 6th and 7th. The weather folks at the time said you could get frostbite in a matter of seconds outside. But my friends and I were complete idiots. So we went up to the Mount Washington overlooks just to test test it. Like we wanted somewhere where you're like exposed, but you could jump back in the car really quickly. And like the thing I remember so viscerally was like stepping outside and literally in seconds, the nose hairs inside your nose freezing and like your eyelashes freezing like so quickly. It was wild.
Oh, that sounds miserable.
We just wanted to test it. We ran right back inside.
A science project.
Actually, it was so cold that year. That was the same time that Peduto was supposed to be inaugurated, our former mayor, Bill Peduto, and he had to move his whole celebration indoors.
Yeah,
but he was in town. So
for that, yeah.
And who knows what the rest of this winter is going to bring. I am peeking at my weather app right now, and it says there's a chance of snow next week. Again, that 2026 Farmer's Almanac also says it's going to be a chill snow repeat kind of winter. So if you do like snow, this could be your year. And if you hate it, I hope that you're inside and cozy and warm. And make sure you're checking back to our website, pittsburgh.citycast.fm. We have recommendations for all seasons and lots of fun stuff to do if you want to be indoors. Also, don't go anywhere. In just a second, executive producer Mallory Falk is going to be with us for a conversation sponsored by AIDS Free Pittsburgh, all about the amazing work that they do in our city and how they are celebrating their 10th anniversary.
Hey, executive producer Mallory Falk here with Richard Smith, the Chief Relationship Officer and Project Director of AIDS Free Pittsburgh. Hi, Richard.
Hi, Mallory. How are you?
I'm great. How about you?
Doing wonderful.
So AIDS Free Pittsburgh is celebrating 10 years. That is a huge milestone. When you think back to that launch back in 2015, what was kind of the original spark that started this whole movement?
Yeah, so we got together with a few like-minded individuals in the city, and we saw the success of the San Francisco Getting to Zero project, which really saw a significant drop in new HIV cases. At the time, this was a new concept, and PrEP wasn't even fully accessible, or even many people didn't even know about it.
Right, and that's the medication that just dramatically reduces your chances of getting HIV.
Right. When we looked at the size of Pittsburgh and what was going on here, we knew that the San Francisco project was happening. We knew there was a project that was happening in all of New York State and Washington State, but nothing that was looking at a mid-sized American Midwest, Rust Belt, East Coast, however you want to describe Pittsburgh.
Gonna start a whole debate here.
Yeah, I know it's a constant conversation at the bars. Nothing like this was happening in a city of our size and population of our size. So we saw some great opportunity there where we'd be able to start a project like this, not only to better the health of our community, but also with the understanding that we'd probably have some better access to data than most people, since we're dealing with some smaller subset.
The way that you operate, AIDS Free Pittsburgh, you bring together hospitals, nonprofits, community groups, and really come up with shared strategies for ending the HIV epidemic. Tell me a little bit more about that collaborative approach. Like, how has working collectively shaped your work and the progress you've been able to make over the past decade?
Right. So going back to the 10 years ago, and still to this day, when we came together, the like-minded individuals, like I like to say, we were social workers, doctors, nurses, public health experts, community members. It was really about looking at all of the work that people are doing in their own silos and individually, and how can we create a larger impact if we pulled our resources together. It wasn't about telling each other what to do or what we thought maybe necessarily worked better, but it was more about aligning all of our messaging so that our messages weren't confusing and that the general public could see any one organization's information and know exactly what it's talking about and how to gain access to services, gain access to HIV testing, or if you were HIV positive, how you could access different services available to you.
And you have achieved a lot over these past 10 years. What's the thing you would say that you are most proud of that you've been able to achieve in this time?
One of our greatest successes in the beginning was being able to increase rapid linkage to care. That means if somebody was HIV positive, we were able to get them into medical care. Our original goal was within, I think we were saying 4 days, 5 days. Really, if you look at the data now, we're getting individuals who are newly linked to care almost immediately, if not less than 12 hours.
Wow.
That was something that was never our intention because we thought, oh, that's a pie in the sky idea. We would never be able to link someone to medical care that quickly. And we proved ourselves wrong very, very quickly and are very proud of that. Additionally, I think where our project works on a larger level, and when you look at other projects nationally, we made a commitment from very early on when we started doing advertising for the project that if we were going to use live models, if we were going to reference items in the advertising, everything would be local. It would be done by local artists. It would have local community members in it. We would hire people from the community. So the majority of the work that you're looking at is someone that is somehow impacted by HIV, whether they know people who are living with HIV, whether they work in the community, or are people who are living with HIV. So making sure that the work that people or the information people are receiving is actually being provided by people who have lived experience was something I'm very proud about.
So no AI at AIDS-Free Pittsburgh.
No, I don't know. Maybe in the future, but not right now. No AI.
I mean, I'm curious how the conversation about HIV and AIDS has evolved in Pittsburgh over the past decade. How has it changed since you were first starting out?
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, PrEP wasn't around in the beginning when we were doing this, or it was, I wouldn't say it wasn't around, but it was not widely understood or known about in our city, and was only being used in high incidence areas across the United States. So we're looking at San Francisco, New York, Miami, but certainly not Pittsburgh. And what brought it to our attention was a client had come to us and said, I heard my friends are using this medicine called PrEP. I really want to get prescribed it. I went to the doctor. The doctor told me that that's not medicine for me since I don't have HIV, and wrote me a script that said, requesting assistance, my problem being a gay male.
Wow.
And we all scratching our heads at that and thought, oh, that can be jarring and very upsetting to a patient that's looking for assistance, and seeing the problem is that you are gay, written out by a medical provider. Now, as time has gone on, I'm sure many of your listeners have probably heard of PrEP, have seen the commercials for PrEP. They show up all the time. So that has been a huge accomplishment and change. The technology when it comes to medicine for HIV has evolved beyond, I think, what any of us thought it could become.
So you are marking this big anniversary, 10 years of AIDS-Free Pittsburgh, with an event called A Journey of Remembrance. It's coming up soon here. What can people expect from the event?
The event is about reflecting on the success of the project, how many people we've impacted along the way, how many communities we've brought together and are working together. So people can expect a celebration. We're going to be providing full food, full meals to individuals that attend. There will be performances of all shapes and sizes, and then it's going to end with a DJ dance party, as always, because that's just how we do. But it'll be a great time, a celebration for the city, a celebration for the project, and I would highly encourage all to at least stop by. It's the Union Project in Highland Park. It's a wonderful venue, very welcoming, easy to access, and all are welcome.
Well, Richard, thank you again for being here and sharing about your work, your organization's work. Again, you can check out aidsfreepittsburgh.org to learn more, including about this upcoming event. We will have a link in our show notes so that you are just a click away. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Mallory.
That is all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. You can support us by becoming a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor. That's at membership.citycast.fm. Makes a great holiday gift. You can give someone the gift of knowing that they are helping support local journalism and keeping the whole CityCast experiment around. We will be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. We'll talk to you soon.
The governor at the time, Robert Casey, that sounds so weird to say, sorry.
I mean, you can say Bob Casey's dad.